Cold sores or no fucking jokes.
Exactly. Show me your herpes.
Next comic, give it loud for everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have your next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open My Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
So Friday you got your contest, huh?
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a winner based off of audience votes. It sounds like they print out on a pamphlet all the pictures and names and everything, and that's how they vote. So it's not like applause or anything. So it's an actual tally, which is pretty cool. But
it's like we did at the Delusional show.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not going in there with any expectations. You know, I signed up because one, it didn't cost anything for an entrance fee. So if I
they must have been like, man, that kid is so frazzled for not doing so well that he had
Boston
to get the
Comedy
hell out
Festival,
of here, because that's what I look like.
It's what, $15 a try. I got into one of them, so
that's a good way to look at it. Like, I ran for president and this contest, and I did get 50% of what I tried to get into.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. I mean, you know, the thing that's weird to me, and this is not talking down about any of the comics that are on it. I don't fucking know any of them. I know Mark Branson, and I know Richie Welch, and then I recognize the name Jean DeRosa because she's been to 19 Carter, but we haven't been there on the same nights before.
We have, and I don't remember. Damn.
Yeah. So it just blows my mind that we're coming up on 2 years now, pretty ingrained in the scene at the moment, I guess, but maybe just not where these people are coming from. We're a little more north. Maybe these people are from down south.
Yeah, I don't feel ingrained because I look at the Boston scene of the people, and they're like, "Oh, here's all of the guys that are big in Boston." I'm like, I don't know any of them.
Yeah, that is true because I signed up for that Like to Laugh contest thing. I got picked to do a wild card prelim or whatever, but that's on Saturday. I just can't make it. But I was looking at the names of the people that got picked. I'm like, I don't know half of these people. There was like, I think if you take out the wild cards, there's something like 58 people, and I knew like 10 of them. Maybe knew of another 10, but that leaves 38 people that I've never heard of. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've only seen what you've sent me for that thing, but that's cool. Are you trying to get into more contests, like, overall?
When I see them, I do it because I think it's a good networking thing, you know? You know, when we had Dante the Comic on, and he was also on Jacques' podcast, and I can't remember if it was ours or his, but when he said it in one of the two podcasts where he said, do contests for networking. You know, if nothing else, you know, you're going to meet people, and maybe a booker is like, hey, do you know anybody? And maybe you struck something with that person, and they're like, hey, I call this guy, you know? So
we had Dante the Comic on?
You didn't, I did.
Oh,
yeah, you couldn't make it. You were, I think you were very sick. And I said, in the beginning of that episode, normally we have Anthony with us, but he is violently ill, as he deserves, I think is how I opened the show.
I know. I probably did deserve it.
And Dante did give his well wishes. I just didn't tell you that. If you didn't listen to the podcast, that's on you.
Yeah,
I'm coming out on fire tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course not. Listen to you. Yeah, Jesus, calm down, Wayne. You got pulled over by the cops for once in your goddamn life. Have you ever got, like, car pulled over?
Oh, many times. I drive like 5 hours a day. I'm surprised I don't get pulled over more.
That was a lot. I just took a big hit with this vape pen by accident.
I saw that.
I went to the Comedy Mill last night, and Nate, love Nate. I annihilated
friend of the show, big piece of shit.
Huge piece of shit, Nate Kern. Which I'll be featuring on their show. I wish I knew more information. But that's it. In April sometime, look out. You'll see your boy out there. Love Biddeford. But yeah, I gave Nate this pen. He's like, oh, can I have a hit? I said, sure. And he took a hit. And I'll demonstrate. He did this. And I said, "You're fucked."
You just did that. Fuck. I thought you pretended. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
So I did that to Nate. And and he got so fucked up that I basically ruined the rest of the show, which was great for all kinds of. But I went to Mullifords, and that's what we call it, Mullifords. That's what I call it. Anyways, the Comedy Mill at Mulligan's Bar, Biddeford, Maine, Lincoln Street. Go check them out. And I usually get a Diet Coke, a nice DC from the bar. And I got my Diet Coke, and I took a sip. And there was vodka in it. And I was like, oh, I'm just looking for a regular Diet Coke. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Which you should say if you accidentally give someone a drug, technically. And so she gives me another one. And it's got vodka in it again. I don't know what she changed. A better vodka? Maybe she thought I went, oh, this cheap shit, ew.
Do you think she gave you regular Coke instead of Diet Coke?
No, it was full of alcohol.
No, what I'm saying is...
Oh.
Man, that's kicking in quick.
Yeah, it did. It got me. No, I mean, that would have... Me straight as an arrow, that would have flew over my head. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. But anyways, I kept it because I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm going to drink tonight, I guess, then. And I don't normally drink, and it got me thinking, like, what if I was an alcoholic and there was a guy there that said, like, I'm 10 years sober. And he said that in the mic. I'm pretty sure he said like 100 days, by the way, which I'm like, why are you even announcing that? That's like, it's been like 100 days since I've played Elden Ring. Like, wait, I shouldn't get a chip for that. But anyways, so I started thinking, like, if you were...
Quick aside, how awesome would it be if they had like an AA, but for overeaters? Like, I was within my calories for 100 days. And they're like, here's a chip. He's like, give me more.
Chocolate.
I feel like I'm virtually contact high now. It was the stupidest thing I've ever said. It was funny to me.
It is dumb, but imagine it's the same kind of thing though. When someone says they're 100 days sober, is someone saying like, I haven't had an Oreo in 100 days? It's like no one is impressed by that. If you went 20 years without Oreos, a couple people are impressed by that. I'm impressed by that. I love Oreos, so like that would impress me. But if you said 100 days, that's not impressive.
I have friends that go, yeah, I haven't drank in 3 days. And I was like, holy shit. So 100 is pretty good.
I haven't drank in years, basically, besides the other night. Like I mean, that's a lie, because I have a beer once, like every couple months. But borderline haven't drank in years, because I haven't been drunk in years. I'll say that.
I would like to reference Burt Kreischer Fully Loaded episode where we opened the show with Anthony.
That was years ago.
Hammered.
Yeah, that was the last time. That was literally the last time I was drunk.
Almost 2 years ago.
I was almost 2 years ago.
I think it was like July or something of that, like 2023.
Yeah.
So
The last time I let loose with like 3 beers and I got hammered. Sad. Yeah, but anyways, I started thinking, like, what if I had 20 years in the game, and if I took that sip, does that technically erase all of my sobriety that I'd have if I... Do you lie about it after that? Like, are you gonna turn in your chip to AA and be like, I took a sip?
I think if you eat rum cake or tiramisu, it fucks up your time.
I don't know, man. I don't think these guys are fucking serving. I don't think they're like violating. They're not going to AA and they're like, I had rum cake. Please take my chip. There's no way. They're lying about it. They're like,
Listen, I know. Maybe. I don't
If you're
know.
25 years in, Wayne, think about this. 25 years in, you're sober. You go to a bar. You ask for a nice Diet Coke. They give you one. You go, thank you. You take a sip. That's it. Your sobriety's gone. Man.
Technically, yeah, I think.
Wow. That just felt so, because think about the power in your hands as a bartender to do that to somebody by accident.
Let me put it this way. You're stuck on this so hard. You were talking about this last night.
I was.
Imagine
Well, I
if
did a
you
joke
actually
about
had
it.
that
Well, I
issue,
thought it was
if
funny.
that happened to you, how stuck on it you would be.
I know. I was just thinking, imagine if I was, how crazy that would be. I did say a joke where I immediately, this is the first thing I talked about when I went on stage because I thought it was so funny. And I said, like, imagine you were a virgin. And me and you were texting about this is why I said it. I said, what if you were a virgin and you went to a bar and you got a Diet Coke and then they fucked you? And I thought that was such a funny line. And I said it and I got light spatters of laughter. And I was like, oh.
That is funny. But keep in mind, it's an open mic.
Yeah, there was only like 12 people. It was a pretty late night. And I was like, no, I'm used to crowds. Laugh.
You should try that in the middle of the set sometime. Just when you take, doesn't have to be a segue or anything. Just one of the times you stop and take a sip of your Coke or whatever. Just go, when I went to get this. And then just tell that story and then just go into the rest of your bits. I think that'd be a fun little aside in the middle of one of your sets.
Yeah, I'm going to try it for sure. Maybe I'll try it if they get a good crowd at Sidebar in Portsmouth. That's happening in a couple weeks. That's a good one where I'm like, I don't know, I could say anything in there. And that was the thing. So in Mulligan's, this is good to bring up. I'm going to tangent off of what I was talking about because I was going nowhere interesting. Open mic, first open mic in a couple months. And I'm like, I gotta try anything new. I gotta do something uncomfortable. Because I listened to, I think it was the Mark Maron podcast. He had Louis on a while ago. And I was listening to that old version of that podcast. And Louis said he didn't get good. He said he was doing the same 45 minutes for about 15 years. Of like a 45 minutes he built. And then he used that for 15 years. It's the jokes that he had where he was like, I'm holding a peach. Like that was his old closer. So it was absurdist comedy. And he said that he didn't get good until he threw that all away and decided to be uncomfortable on stage for the first time. Going up and going, oh, nobody's going to like this. And still doing it. That is such a hard thing to do when you first start out because the open mics are the show. So you're always like, I don't want to look like an asshole. I want to do good. Especially even in Mulligan's because I love those guys there. And I don't want to look like a dick in front of them. I want to go up and be the best one that went up that night so I could look cool in front of all the cool guys in Bedford. But no, not this time. There's a joke I have where I say that my mom doesn't think black people should vote. And I just know there's something in there. I just know that there's something funny about it. And I decided to do that one. And they didn't like it. It was the curse of, this is the curse. So if you ask the host at an open mic, hey, how much time do I have left? And they go 1 minute, you should just stop. You should do another joke. Because that joke is cursed. Your next joke is cursed.
The one time I did that was at Strange Brew. And I had like a 30-second joke or something I wanted to do. And I was like, Ben, how much time do I have left? He goes, 1 minute. So I just did the 30-second joke. And then when I got off stage, he went up and said, when there's this many people here, if you have to ask how much time you have, get the fuck off the stage. I was like, I just wanted to try. Okay.
Woo.
He may not have been as aggressive, but that was basically what he said.
No, I can see him being a big aggressive dickhead like that. Well, the thing about Mulligan's is they're very nice to your boy, and I rarely see the light over there. They're always late with it because they're good and they know.
Well, it's because Nate
I'm
was
not
high
crazy.
as fuck. He was trying to figure out how to work the light.
Obliterated him. Now Paul was running the light that night, and maybe he was also obliterated. And yeah, so they didn't give me a light, so I didn't know what I was doing because I did the strangle the mic stand version of my substitute bit.
And how did that go?
It went better than the first time, I'll tell you that. It gave me...
Obviously.
The thing is...
If somebody coughs during that, it's better than the first time.
Well, you laughed so hard.
I did because I told you to do it.
I thought it was pretty... The prime number part, that got laughs.
I love that part.
Well, so here's the thing. That whole joke, when it's a good crowd, or like those guys up there, when I'm dealing with degenerates, the whole substitute teacher part, the whole hitting your kids part of that joke is so good, hits so well. But I don't really have a good way to end it on a huge bang. Like my ending, if I don't strangle the microphone stand, is if you're a substitute teacher and it's your first day, you should kill a kid. And I love that you should have to kill a kid. And I love the line, and it's good. And it does get good laughs sometimes, but I just don't feel like it's a good end to the joke. So I'm just trying to figure out how that one's going to stop. I'll figure it out. It'll be some kind of misdirection. I need Jacques. Jacques' good for that.
Yeah, I think that's going to come with just doing it over and over again. And then one day you're just going to think of something or say something. Or, I do that a lot when I'm like, I'll practice bits in my car or whatever, just because I find that sometimes I'll just throw something in ad-libbing when I'm not thinking. There's like, oh, that might work.
Yep.
That's how I came up with the part where I say my wife has a very healthy throat. That was just ad-libbing in the car, and that's
great line.
Arguably one of my biggest laughs if I said every time I say it.
It's true. It's true. That is a good part of the set, and that just comes from doing the jokes over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought about that Disney dad joke I had, where I have a friend who is like he's obsessed with Disney World, and he goes there multiple times a year, but he also abandoned his kids, which is funny. Because started thinking about it, and the line I started thinking about is like, you used to be able to abandon your kids and then vanish. Like, they would make up stories like you were a CIA agent or something like that. But, like, those kids know exactly what he is. Because they have to see it on Facebook. So I think that little aside is going to help that joke out a little bit.
You were worried about you were worried about doing that joke for a while because of, somebody would know who you were talking about if they ever saw it. Are you still worried about that, or are you at the point now where you're like, fuck it?
I'm only a little bit of the fuck it because I'm saying it's a friend. And so I'm going to keep it vague in that regard because I don't think they'll know. Because there's a lot of Disney people out there. There's a lot of adults that do Disney. And I'm sure anybody who's had a kid who is also a Disney adult gets rid of those kids.
That's going to be like the same thing where like somebody's sitting in church and the priest does some vague thing about being a piece of shit, and half the people are like, oh God, he's talking about me.
It could be, but it's also, I don't really know this is why I feel comfortable with it, is because I'm kind of making it up in the sense of, I don't even know, like the whole, like it's just funny to me, the concept of somebody abandoning their kids and being a Disney adult. Now, how close that is to real life, I'm going to say that anything you see in this movie that makes you like description to real people or events is just by coincidence. And this is a work of fiction produced by me. That Steve Sweeney says that. Not like that, but Steve Sweeney says all the time when people go, hey, he goes, it's a joke, shut the fuck up. And
Kim, we'll keep going on what we're talking about, but we need to make sure we touch on the Sweeney shows after.
Well, might as well segue now. We did Sweeney shows that were good. Yours was way better than mine, but it was cool to see the difference in the two shows. So I did Friday, only had 29 people. But I had 29 people. 26 of them were old as hell. 3 of them were young. 2 things about my show, then we'll go to yours. 1, all 3 of those young people were cool, and they enjoyed the set. All of the old people were I don't know, they probably weren't cool because they were so old, but they enjoyed the set, and that has never happened before. Usually, I'm gonna be like, if it's a bunch of old people, I'm like, there's some young people in the room, they'll like this, and I'll do my set with that in mind. But this time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. It's 12 to 15. I would normally do 15, and just try to pile in as many jokes as I could, try it out and all that. But this time, like, I'm gonna do it for them. Like, I'm gonna pick 12 jokes that I'm like, this is gonna work for you people, and I'm only gonna do 12 minutes because that's the limit to where after 12 minutes I have to offend somebody. That's it. One of my jokes are going to offend somebody after that because there's Jew-Raff and the Act of God and the Mia Khalifa with dog shit joke. So somebody's gonna be offended if I do those. But there's 12 that I don't think anybody unless they're being a real dick is gonna be offended by. So I did those. And it was kind of like, it wasn't my funnest set because I didn't get to do those. Like, I love, not to jump around a bit, but I did headliners after that. Like the next weekend, I did headliners. It was the best set I ever had. I did 23 minutes of just everybody loved everything I was doing. But my favorite jokes were the edgy ones because they would shock people. I'd see them get shocked. They'd laugh. Got an applause break from one of them. That's awesome. But it was a different feeling to go up with.
I love that shock laugh that you're talking about, where it's like silence for like a second or two, and people process what you say, and then the big boom comes.
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite type of laugh.
It's a good feeling, right? Yeah, exactly. So I got a lot of that. That was great. But the Sweeney one was nice because I planned, executed, and won over a crowd that I normally wouldn't win over with jokes that I'm proud of. They weren't like, I didn't pull out jokes. I'm like, this joke is hacky, but at least the old people will like it. Like, I'm proud of the jokes I did. I pushed them as far as I think that, like, there was literally a Catholic delegation of six top table. Sweeney got out of them later that they were part of some Catholic club. So anytime there was like any kind of edgy joke, you could see them wince over there. And at the end of the night, everybody came over and was super pumped about the thing. They were cheering loud at the end and all that. So that was kind of cool to just. I couldn't do that forever until now. This is like, I think literally this month would be the first time to be able to go do that competently.
Yeah, and that just goes to show it comes with repetition and experience.
Yeah, my jokes are getting to the point, too, where the newer ones I'm writing are, like... It's just been a while since substitute teacher, I talk about fucking murdering a kid, so maybe I'm lying here about about what I'm about to say. But I'm more saying that the newer jokes I'm writing, I feel like I can do them clean, or I can add edge to them. I'm normally talking about stuff that's more personal instead of absurd.
Yeah, I was talking to Jacques about that, where I've gotten to that point where I'm starting to see a lot of stuff in my life that I'm like, man, that I could find the funny in that a little easier than I could 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, you talk, like, I noticed that just in general, when you first start out, when I did, I talked about way more abstract, weird things, absurd. Like, Pompeii masturbator is a great idea. That you're just like the concept of Pompeii and the guy that they caught jacking off is just like I don't want to call it unrelatable, but it's an absurd reference that like not a lot of people are going to know, but it's still a good joke. But my point is, nowadays you're probably writing more about like an actual thing that happened to you in life and you found the funny around it. Like the Great Wolf Lodge type of joke.
Yeah, I want to say probably like the last like 10 minutes worth of stuff that I've written has just been actual experiences that I've expanded upon and stepped out of the circle of reality a little bit, but not too much.
It's fun. It's fun to get silly. It's definitely fun to get silly. I don't know if it's fun to be silly a whole set, but it's fun to do like butthole jokes in the middle of it and just be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to get weird here for a minute.
Yeah.
I did add, so all right, we covered my portion. Let's go to your Sweeney.
Yeah, so I was surprised when I got there. I walked in the room and...
You don't have to mute it, Wayne. We all know your dog's going to whine in this fucking podcast. It happens every time.
You know what's funny? I shut the door. She nudged it open. I came down. I was like, fuck! I'm back in the studio tonight. Studio basement.
Yep.
My pink painted basement. But anyways, I walked in the door. I've never been to the Bull Run in Shirley before, and I walked in, and I was pretty sure that it was going to be pretty close to sold out. Ended up being completely sold out, and 270 people. And I was like, holy shit. That was crazy. Biggest crowd I've ever had. So, I mean, I was pumped. I didn't know how I was going to feel going up there, but it felt no different than going up when there was 40 people. You know, it's like, what's the difference?
Isn't that a weird feeling to it that it doesn't really feel that different? The laughs feel different. That's the only thing that does. Like when you hit a good punchline, you're like, oh shit, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But a bomb feels the same. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, sure does. Luckily, I didn't have. I had one joke that didn't really hit like it normally does. Still get some scattered laughter. But I mean, everything else was good. You know, it felt good. I did 10 minutes there. I mean, you know why? You know why? Because some things that happen, you kind of explained to me, but we'll keep that between us. But it was good, man. It was awesome.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll agree.
Because sometimes people when the opener and the feature go too long, some people like to heckle.
Oh, Sweeney, what are you fucking being a bitch about? Yeah. No, this is so. If you here's a good inside tip to knowing Sweeney. He's a fucking maniac, and it's hilarious how he does things. He's so wild. But yeah, if you do too much time, he will be like, "Get the fuck out of there."
Yeah, and that's that's what Mike said to me. He's like, "You're gonna do 10 because anything over that, Steve's gonna get a little weird." I was like, "Okay, all right."
Yeah, he'll just get up and he'll just start walking around, just talking to people in the crowd, like, "Oh, man, this guy fucking sucks." How do you want to
just wrangle him in a little bit? He'd go upstairs and be like, "Hey, come downstairs for a minute." But
yeah,
it was awesome. But what I want to say is. I've seen Sweeney a couple times, but he got on stage, did 55 minutes, and there was zero silence for 55 minutes. People were laughing the entire time. It was wild.
It is incredible to watch him go because it is like there's honor to killing your set every year or every other year and doing a new hour. If you're a professional comedian, it's really cool. And the best comedians in the world, you wouldn't have seen their best stuff if they didn't do that, because they eventually would come out with new material that was just so goddamn good all the time. However, there's another way where you iron sharpen a set for 50 years. And you're like, this hour is 50 years of me doing it to millions of different people. And you know how we know, like, we make jokes better because we get a laugh here. We're like, oh, I got a laugh here before. We go off on a tangent and we get another line like we were talking about all the time. It always happens. Imagine you did that for 50 years on your pronouns joke. By the end of it, it would be the best version of the pronouns joke that you could ever do and in the world probably could ever be written, because that's how long you worked on it. So though they're around here and they're doing acts that are that they've done for a while, they're some of the best acts that you can see in the United States, and we followed them sometimes or open for them in shows. And nothing makes me feel worse at comedy than watching one of those guys like Kenny Rogerson, Steve Sweeney, Lenny Clark. Those guys, monsters. Steve Bjork too, obviously. I know Steve Bjork was in the late 80s and those guys were in the 70s, but he's still as much of a murderer in my opinion as all of them. Mike Donovan. He's probably the most surgical murderer that is on the lineup. So yeah, Steve Sweeney, all those guys, awesome. I am April 18th. This is a good time to say this now that I'm talking to nobody, since Wayne's got to take care of his fucking duck. April 18th, I am going to open for Lenny Clark, and he's going to do one of those 40-year surgical best sets of all time. And I'm going to do one that about 50% of the people that I've done it to like for 2 years. So just as good. You're going to love it. Everybody's going to love it out there. It's going to be so goddamn good. There he is. There's the boy. He's back. He's on mute.
I should have paid more attention. She was locked out of her sleep space. That's what she just is.
It's It's incredible how little control you have over those dogs.
They're big babies. Big babies. And everybody else in the house is asleep. So it's not like there's somebody that can let her in. She has no thumbs. Wild thing, but... So, did you freeze again? Oh, there you are.
No, I was flabbergasted by your incredulity.
Incredulity, what is that?
I was trying to say you're incredulously retarded. So whatever. Made up a new word. Then I went retarded. So headliners, I want to talk about that.
Yes.
Where were so I doubled up at Chunky's and Headliner Saturday night.
Can we back up 1 second before you go too far?
Yeah.
Because we've talked a few times about my mom's throat cancer joke. And the time when the guy came up to my dad and was like, you're a lucky man, sir, like all that shit. My father was at the Sweeney show. And we had another one of those situations. So he's sitting at a table with a bunch of people because sold out. So there was just random people sitting at every table. And I do the throat cancer joke. And my dad's there with my cousin, and the person sitting to the right of them just kind of leaned over to his wife and was like, I wonder if his mother really died of throat cancer. And my dad leaned over and went, yup.
He was like, and everything else about that joke is also true.
But I love doing that joke when he's there, because when people find out that he's my dad and he's there, funny ensues.
It's pretty crazy you do that to him every time that he goes, because you know he's going to be there and you still do that joke to him. It's funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that to my dad.
I think it's a great joke.
It's a fantastic joke, but it's fucking cuts deep.
It sure does.
I was like, imagine your dad's like, I wonder how Wayne processed what happened. I wonder if he did it healthfully. And you're like, you know what I did? I'll tell you what I did. I researched blowjobs.
That's
awesome.
It's funny. I was talking to the kid. I have a new person working with me, so we drive a lot together. And I was telling him that story, and I was like, I was trying to think of like a different callback, because I have the one like my wife has a healthy throat and all this stuff. But I was like, would it be too far if at some point in the set I was just like, so my dad just got diagnosed with ass cancer. He didn't.
I was looking up causes and prevention. That's funny. Yeah.
Anyways, headliners. You had a interesting night.
Oh, yeah. So, where were you that night? Were
Sweeney.
you working?
It wasn't the following weekend. It was the night after your Sweeney show.
God damn it. They're all blended in. So, yeah, all right. The night after Sweeney, I do a double for Rent-A-Comic.
We're talking about comedy shows, Anthony.
We're talking about comedy shows?
Yeah.
Where am I? Sorry, that vape pen thing in the beginning derailed this whole podcast.
Yeah.
So, headliners. Double show, Rent-A-Comic, Rob, great guy. Anyways, he runs Chunky's and Headliners in Manchester. So, Chunky's, we all know Chunky's. And Headliners is at the Doubletree. They have a couple different rooms in there. Awesome place. But, yeah, they do them half an hour after each other. And my instructions were to open both of the shows. And open 20 minutes of both of the shows. So that would get me 10 minutes to get off one stage and get on the other stage. And they're 15 minutes away from each other. So impossible.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. To just start a show where it was impossible going. And I worked Will Noonan at Chunky's. And Chunky's was Chunky's.
Who was the feature at Chunky's? That was Sean,
I guess it was
right?
supposed to. Yeah, I guess it was supposed to be me, because that's what Sean said. He's like, no, you're the feature. I'm supposed to open. And I was like, well...
I mean, that would make sense why you did 20.
Yeah, but that would make it double impossible to go to the other one. So I was like, well, can't do that. So Sean ended up messaging Rob just to make sure he wanted me to go, and he told me to go first. So I went first, Mr. Rue and Will Noonan. Will Noonan was Will Noonan was awesome. He was so fucking funny. You couldn't get through it, huh? I see over there. It's like we're on Step Brothers set and there's fucking you're going through the blooper reel. You're over there trying to hold it in by holding the top of your head like it's fucking holding in a flashlight.
I'm stopping the glare.
Yeah, no, you fucking bald piece of shit. I hate all bald people that talk about glare. Don't talk about glare. We know that your head blinds us, all bald people. You don't have to do the magnifying glass. You know, it'd be funny if you said that you melted ants. There we go.
I never melted ants as a kid, but now.
Now you can do it. See, way better. All right, I don't even know what I was talking about. All right, yeah, Chunkies.
Hey,
so
you said it. You said it, Chunkies.
Yeah, and that sucked. Because it's just you go up and they're ordering Dino Nuggets and drinks, and you're disconnected from them.
Say Dino Nuggets.
Yeah, that's what they're fucking ordering. That's what they sell there. They sell dinosaur-shaped nuggets. That's what that's their flagship item of food. And
I
can
like
hear
bi-weekly for my son.
I do too. I have a pallet of it in my garage. So I wasn't interested.
Never buy a pallet of it. Because they change like that and then they won't touch it. And you're going to be sitting on fucking nuclear apocalypse amounts of dino nuggets. You don't want it. We did that with ramen. All my son would eat for a while was ramen. My wife bought 3 100 packs of ramen. Was still going through them.
Damn. Does he eat ramen now too?
No.
Does he still eat it? No, he gave up on it.
I told her to stop buying shit. I was like, don't buy it. Buy it singly because he'll change one day.
That's a good point. Kids are horrible.
They're the worst.
They're the worst. And so are movie theater shows, because those are so hard. So yeah, it was just like 50, 60 people at Chunky's. I did good. They were like spattering of laughter throughout all of the jokes that I wanted to. There was a guy in front of me who was black and his name is Cedric. And I was like, Cedric, you are laughing so good for me. And I'm saying such horrible things. And he's like, I'm a racist pig. And and me and him had such a good laugh about it. And I realized that no one else was really following what I was doing. And I would see like pockets of people, like the waitresses would keep coming in to take the preliminary orders, and they were going in grid formation. You know, they were doing their job, but they were basically systematically shutting down the crowd. They were walking up and down every aisle and going, "Hey, look at me! Hey, don't look at him! Stop! What do you want?" And I'd have to go through all that. Dino Nuggets. All right, they do that whole thing. And then they go in the back, and then I start the next joke, and then they walk right back out and go and take the next order. So I do that. I run off. Will seemed to like it. He was really nice dude. I put on his jacket by accident. It was so nice. Yeah. And I go, I can't. Yeah, exactly. No, I don't think he reads messages, apparently. And so he says good that he loves the Mia Khalifa joke that I do. He was a big fan of that one.
That is a fantastic joke. Like, that's underrated. I might say that might be your most underrated joke.
You think so?
I think so.
That's nice.
It's so goddamn.
I haven't used the line. There's not many porn that you and your dog can jerk off to. I haven't said that in a long time. I'm afraid to, but I
don't think you need to. The way you end it, it's a nice little package. Just.
Well, so I'll get to that joke, actually, because it's going to matter in headliners. Anyways, so I go, bye, Will, and I run out the door, and I go, sorry, I am being a dick. And I sprint to my car. I get to headliners 2 minutes after. By the way, I only did 16 minutes at Chunky's, because I was like, this sucks.
At the Sweeney show, Matt Berry was the feature, and there was a big parking problem. And Mike was very concerned that Matt couldn't park because I was going up. I was doing 10 minutes, and Matt was supposed to be there. But Matt ran in real quick right before my set. Then he goes on stage, does like 20, 25 minutes, and he literally runs from the stage out the door. Doesn't say bye to anybody. I was like,
Wow, he had another spot.
no. I messaged him a couple days later. I was like, hey man, I just want to say it was nice meeting you, and hopefully whatever, see you again later. He goes, hey, you too. Sorry I ran out. I parked in front of somebody's driveway, and I had to go because I was blocking in 3 cars. So he knew he had to get to the set. He just fucking just like, all right, this is it. I'm here. See you later.
You could do that in comedy because you're like, your job takes 20 minutes. So, I mean, like, you're not going to get fucking towed in 20 minutes. Get in and get out.
And it was funny because when you were saying, like, you just had to run off the stage that night, I was like, I wonder if that's what he looked like Matt Berry. Like, he was running so fast out that his hair was, like, he's got long hair. It's just, like, flowing in the back.
They must have been like, man, that kid is so frazzled for not doing so well that he had to get the hell out of here. Because that's what it looked like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because Matt Berry fucking killed.
Yeah, of course he did. No, definitely no me. They were like,
so frazzled,
dumbass.
You're like, don't look at me. Shit.
So I run over to Headliners. I get there 2 minutes late, and Frank Centarelli's there. And basically, right when I walk in, he's like, "All right, let's start the show." And I'm like, "Okay, hey, they scheduled this." And that place, Headliners, is packed. They got like, I don't know, close to 100 people in there. It's a pretty weird shaped room. Like there's 2 step ups of crowds, and the bottom layer, they're pretty far away. But they were good. Greg Bogus was there. He opened the show by doing the rules, and then he just brought me up. And I had to do 20 minutes.
Did he airlift you in with helicopter noises?
No, he didn't do that joke. Actually, he did no material. He just did. I'm Greg. Shut the fuck up. Here's Anthony. Basically, it's a good sturdy entrance. I was a little nervous going up to that one because 1, I just did chunkies, and that will always kill your confidence. And 2, I was going up cold. He just did the thing, brought me up. People were still talking a little bit. And I had to do 20 at this one because I wasn't going to, like, a couple minutes plus or minus when you're doing 20 is usually fine. Get off on a good laugh. Mm-hmm. But this one, I'm like, it's a goal. I want to get over 20 on a set here opening. I know I can do it featuring because the crowd's already warmed up and ready to go, and they'll take most of your jokes, but it's harder to do that opening because you can't take as many risks. But anyways, best set I ever had. They were fucking awesome. It was the best crowd ever. They loved all the jokes that I did. And I did the Mia Khalifa joke. And it got really good response from it. And I did something I haven't done before, and I just did it in the moment, where I said, all right, I'm going to step out of my act for a minute. We're going to halt the show, and I'm going to be honest with you and say that I did that joke to test you. I was like, because I'm the first comic, so really it's kind of my job to see like what you guys can handle. And I had no idea if you would take that kind of depravity. Do you guys like dark material? And they started like chanting dark, 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 and they were clapping and they got crazy. And I was like, all right, you said it. And then I got a big laugh from that. And then I did my Jew Raff and Act of God jokes, which normally they come out of nowhere, and I think they surprise people, and that can be negative surprise people because I'm not doing stuff that left field to that point. And I think doing that little pause and saying that, it made those jokes hit 10 times harder, because I think that if you build up a joke and the punchline isn't shocking enough, then you ruin the joke. Like if you're like, oh, this is going to shock you, and then it's kind of like a mundane joke. But I think those two are going to shock anybody. The guy who goes on crazyshit.com and watches Pain Olympics all day is still going to be shocked by those Olympics
jokes. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, those were the days. But yeah, that was cool. I did 23 minutes. I accidentally went over. I was using my timer, but I had to drop 2 jokes that I planned for 20, my Tigers joke and another one. So, and I still ended at 23, so I think I would have done 25 unabated if I didn't time myself. And no one was timing, so I could have, and they wouldn't have paid attention.
Yep.
But I saw Al in the hallway, and I was like, I'm not going to take any of his time. So Al Gonacher was the middle friend of the show.
Al Gonacher of Gonacher's Monikers.
That's right. He forgot that he was on our show for a minute, but then he remembered and pretended to remember at least.
It was a great episode, too. He was full. I loved talking to him.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
I think
obviously
he was
didn't
just.
like talking to us, but
I think he was more surprised that I was there because I think his interpretation of us was that we were, which we were, open mic comics, and that's like all we were doing at the time. So, well, like he was like, "That's you." He's like, "You're outside of the open mic range now, doing stuff like this," and I'm like, "I don't know how impressive this is, but yeah, it's not that impressive." But yeah, so he goes up. He does pretty good too. Frank goes up, no mic stand, which was a little weird, and
that happened to me at Waterview.
it's just
Very
baffling, isn't it?
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. It made me a little happy knowing that if we broke one of our mic stands one day, it's like, I figured doing these shows, if we broke our mic stands, we'd be like, well, the show's canceled. We're not going to do it without a mic stand. But now you can, if you don't care how people feel.
Yeah. I was just going to say something that I think you're about to lead into, so I'm going to bite my tongue on it.
Well, I was just going to say that Frank Santarelli uses a mic stand for most of his set.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. And I said that to the guy, George, running it. I was like, I'm pretty sure he uses a set a lot. Do we have a mic stand? And then I saw Frank get into his impressions portion of his set, which he uses the mic stand for. And he's like, I usually have a mic stand for this. And he unbuttoned his shirt and he put the mic in like this. He's like, let's try it like this. And then he did, which, by the way, that guy's so experienced that I don't think anything rattles him on stage. Like, he didn't have a mic stand. He's like, fuck it. I've done this before. And it was just, I knew that he's gone through this and done this thing.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty cool that, like, if that happened to us and we were so used to a mic stand, I don't know what I would do. I would probably, like, not do the jokes that would require that or something, where he had an answer for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, like, you're a bit about strangling the mic stand. Like, what do you do in that case? You strangle.
He'd have an answer. Well, no, he'd probably bring like a kid on stage or something and show.
Give me a real kid.
Yeah,
Let me borrow this little fuck right here.
yeah, he would do it.
How long can you hold your breath?
I know. We're gonna go till the laugh stop. So I asked the guy, and the guy goes, "I have a mic stand just in my car. We never really set it up." And I was like, "Let's get it." So we went out to his car. I set up the thing, and I go to there was a side entrance to the stage. So I went to the side, and I'm trying to not fuck up Frank's set. I want it to be during a laugh, go up and just plop it on the stage and run off. That way it's not during a setup. Because if you do a walk on stage during someone's setup, you're fucking their punchline. Because they're going to look at you and fuck themselves up. Which, by the way, good for me for thinking about that in the moment, not just running up there and throwing it there, because I could have been dog-brained and went and done that. But I was trying to be cool. And I go up, and as I put it on, the crowd erupts in applause, because Frank was complaining about a mic stand, and I brought a mic stand out. But he couldn't see me. So he was just like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm crushing. And I slowly backed off the stage, and he turned around, and he's like, what? Because they were chanting mic stand at him. And
you had a lot of chanting going on.
They were chanting crowd.
Dark, mic stand.
Might have been one guy who just getting people going. Oh, I almost said the C word a bunch of times in chant form. I was like, that probably would not be good. But yeah, something like that.
Actually, it was hefty. That was the commercial. The hefty trash bags.
C word. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't chant hefty. Good job. You just fucking smushed this down, the energy, you piece of shit. Good job, Wayne. Goddamn. Your defeated fucking sighs are so good. Damn. That's the noise that a water buffalo makes when the lion gets around its neck. He's like, oh. Yeah, but anyways, that show was fucking awesome. What a cool, go check out the headliner shows. I want to do that again. I went off stage and I like basically shook George. I was like, get me another one of these. But yeah, that was cool.
I'm glad
that's all. Yeah, that's it. That was fun. And then coming up, let's wrap up with the coming ups. You have a contest. Did we talk about the contest? You didn't say.
We did at the beginning, yeah.
Did you say the name of it?
No, it's a contest for the it's the PCA Westford. So it's Parish Center for the Arts Westford comedy contest. I think it's a pretty generic name.
I got to tell you, I'm cautiously optimistic for this for you because any Center for the Arts I've seen for shows are huge. They're usually
It's almost sold
theater
out.
places.
As
I
of
might be
yesterday,
like-
they said there's like very few tickets left. So I'm just happy.
I could see there being over 100 people. I could see easily being over 100 people.
I don't know. I drove by the building today and I was looking at it. It doesn't look 100 people big, but it might be deceiving.
I wonder. It just, I don't know. I've done a couple of the Center for the Arts now, and they've been like the coolest fucking shows ever. I'm doing the Firehouse Center for the Arts in March in Newburyport. I sent you the picture of that the other day, that Mike Smith room. Holy shit, that looks cool. And that's another one of those Center for the Arts. And then I'm doing the Sanctuary. That's a Center for the Arts place. That looks pretty cool like that. So I think this is going to, I'm excited. Can't wait to see how you do. Wayne won already if you're listening to this.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm just looking to have a good time.
God, I hope you bomb, man.
I was looking at the flyer for it, and I got a little confused because it had different pricing. So if you were a member, it was like X amount of dollars. If you were not, it was a little bit higher. At the door, it was a little bit higher. But then they had one that said EBT, and it was like $12. And I was like, man, I kind of want to ditch the first couple minutes of my set and just riff on that.
Food stamps? Like you can buy
so
tickets
I
for food
thought
stamps?
it was you could pay with EBT to get in, but what it actually is like if you have EBT, a lot of places will give you a discount, so you can go to things. But
That
in my
sucks.
head, I
You
was
like,
like, holy
dude.
shit, we have Elon Musk here trying to end fraudful spending and wasteful spending, and you're gonna pay to have somebody see me talk about masturbating? How wasteful can you get? But that's not the case.
I just think it's kind of fucked up to make someone do that. It's like, imagine if you're like, man, these iPods are $120, but if you tell me you have herpes, I'll give it to you for $100. And then you're like, why do I got to tell you that? Why do I got to show you my food stamps? And you're like, show me your food stamps, and I'll give it to you for $2 cheaper. Like, fuck. I just want to pay the $2 and not be humiliated.
Cold sores or no fucking jokes.
Exactly. Show me your herpes. Yeah, like, again, no good reason to make them show you food stamps. Except you want to go, poor, get in there. Anyways, enjoy the show.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Enjoy the show with fucking the... What's the Boons or whatever the names are? The poor people from The Simpsons. You know, talking about the ones like, I married my sister.
That's my sex box.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to do a show for a bunch of those. I got my funny stamps. They're not food stamps this month. They're funny stamps.
That's good.
This lady's going to watch this thing and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, sorry in
fuck you.
advance.
Oh, yeah, it comes out afterwards. Yeah, fuck it. Doesn't matter. Yeah, sorry,
It's
lady.
about a Monday.
Yeah, exactly. The show's over already. I don't care if you won and you're a part of their parish now. It's over.
Shit.
I'm going to be at McHugh's, so we'll see how that goes. Kenny Rogerson, the Viper.
Oh, it's on Saturday, right?
Yep. Working with Kenny
Again.
so many times.
Yeah.
Yep. Doing him later in the month, too. Love him. Maybe we'll get him for an OMP show. I'm going to talk to him about that. Would you be interested in that? Should I bring that up?
Yes. We need to fill the 11th. And we haven't started talking about that yet, so that's a strong candidate.
Good candidate, right?
Fantastic candidate.
The Viper. He's so funny, too.
I
I
did
heard
marketing.
Rogan... I heard Louis C.K. talking about Kenny Rogerson on that same Mark Maron podcast, which was really cool. He was talking about how bad it sucked to open for... He's like, there were just these crazy killers. And he said, Sweeney, Clark, Knox, Donovan, Rogerson. Those are the ones that he brought up.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Because it was like, you know, besides Kevin. That's the guys are all still around.
Yep.
Is Kevin Knox dead?
He is.
Is he alive? That's a horrible thing to say, but yeah, he's dead.
He is dead. Yeah. So I actually work with a lady who is very ingrained in Boston comedy. She's been going comedy since early '90s, late '80s, maybe. Knows all these guys, seen all of them. So every time, every time I get to work with somebody from back in the day, I'll run up the stairs and be like, Janet, opening for Sweeney, and she'll get all excited. I'm like, hey Janet, I was just over this place and or fucking Paul D'Angelo was there. She's like, oh my god, I fucking love Paul. She's the wicked into it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I
It's
get a
cool
little
to see
comedy buddy at
people.
work.
There are fans of the local comedy scene out there. It does exist, and we feel like there's no such thing as comedy fans because all we do is do jokes to each other, basically.
Yeah.
Like, people don't like this. They just like the event of comedy. They're not fans of the particular scene, but there are people that will follow you and be into the stuff.
I think it's coming back around to that. It's getting big, but there is a problem with diluted market. I think with there's so many. I was talking to Mike Smith about it, where you have a lot of these shows where they're putting on basically, there's a lot of open micers out there, and they're just doing like showcases of just open micers. And some people, that might be their first show to go to, and they're like, I'm not going to go to local comedy anymore. That they're expecting to go to like a Louis C.K. type of thing, but they get people a show completely full of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's true. Like, the frustration from a person like Mike Smith, I can totally see now. Where you're like, the consumer probably expects the showcase of us because it's local comedy. They're like, that's probably what you're going to get when you go to these shows. But the frustrating part is that, no, you can get a world-class show at a local show over here. You can get like some of the best people in the country at comedy you can see when you see one of those guys in there. And so when you put up us only, you are kind of like, there's a major leagues right next door that you could have put on by just a couple $100 extra into your budget. And you chose not to, therefore pushing people who are potential fans away. Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. But we're trying. We're gonna get there ourselves.
Sure. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, not that it's a huge deal, but we both have websites now.
We do.
Yeah.
WayneRussellComedy.com?
Yes, sir. Anthony E. Comedy. Because
AnthonyEugenio.com. Yeah, it's available. It's available, and I'm getting split opinions on whether I should have went Anthony Eugenio or AnthonyEComedy.com. I think I'm going to just buy the Anthony Eugenio one, too, and make them both go to it. But I ended up leaning on the Anthony E. Comedy because I don't think people can spell my last name properly. I don't want them to have to think when they're typing in my name.
I was listening to an older Conan O'Brien podcast where he has the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And he has this lady on there whose name is Eugenia. And I was like, oh.
That's a new one. Oh, that's what they called me on the Firehouse poster, which annoyed me.
What was the egregious one you got a couple weeks ago?
First of all, I think pretty sure on the one I just did the double, one of the name that I was on the piece of paper was Tom Genno. And I was like, I think that's me. But yeah, I got one that was like Arsenio Hall, basically. That's what they called me. I don't know what it was. It wasn't even close. The guy's like, I don't know, Arsenio Hall, come up. But yeah, no, we should talk about our show. That's really what we should talk about. Go on our websites. Go on our websites and get tickets to the next OMP show at Stark's Brewing. Stark Brewing. We're taking over Stark Brewing once a month, baby.
Yeah, you could also just go right on Facebook too. Go to OMP Productions Facebook, and we are constantly posting but you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it on socials because we're sponsoring those ads, baby.
Yeah, we're paying. We're paying to put it in front of your eyes with. It's crazy. There's no free social media press. You should go on social media, and it should just be what the beautiful godlike algorithm decides that your brain wants you to see. But instead, you can cheat the system by giving them money, and they'll put your ad up top. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. And I gotta say, best flyer I've ever made, probably. Beautiful flyer.
It's a beautiful flyer.
Headlined. Yeah, headlined by Carolyn Plummer.
The Bjork Star Wars one was the best one ever.
It is a pretty good one. That one is true.
Yeah, it's framed in my house.
All right. Well, anyways, Kaylee Krenzer. Gonna be this. You're gonna do great. And then me and you will be on there.
And Carolyn Plummer. I think we said
I already said that.
Yeah, good. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
it's March
forget.
14th, 8 p.m. Doors at 7. Come hang out. Yeah, the last one was
please.
great. Did we talk about the last one?
Yeah.
The
We did.
showcase we did there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, we did. So we did one of those showcases that ruined comedy ourselves there, and but it was basically because. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's because we had 2 weeks. And
Yes.
Most people worth a damn are booked 2 weeks out. For headliner worthy anyways.
Yep.
So we just got the funniest people we could think of and had a fucking great time. And still had a headliner show up. So hell yeah.
And we still had Mikey K. Katrobi, Obi-Wan Katrobi, Alec Guinness version because the old one, and he
Sam
went
Buck,
up and
I think he could. I think he commanded that room for like what 25, 30 minutes. He's essentially headlined it. It was fantastic.
Yep, he said it was the set of his life.
Did he?
And he did. He said it was the
funny.
best set he ever had.
I worked with him the following night at McHugh's, and fucking he killed there too. We both had a great night, great weekend. We both did really well both nights. It was fun.
What a weekend! That never happens to me. I'm always like, if I do good at one, I'm due to eat shit at the other. I just can't. I can't line them up.
It's algebra, man. It is. It's like you take one from one side, it goes to the other.
It's annoying too when you go back to back and one set they hate a joke and then you go to another one they love it and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't get it. There's no answers to this question. But yeah, go buy the tickets, please, to it, because if we keep going, then we can't put us on anymore. So the next ones we have to put other people on. So we're going to be booking people. So go to the show and then we can keep doing it. And if you don't, then we'll die. So, right?
Yeah, sure will.
Wayne will die at least.
It's probably coming.
I'm probably going to host this one. I imagine I'm due to host. You hosted the last one.
Yeah, doesn't matter to me. I like hosting as well. So I like it. I don't know. It's fun. You know what it is? It's the DJ in me. You know, when I used to DJ, I love the interstitial shit.
I hate stitials.
I hate all of it. Like interstitials, outerstitials.
Yep, I hate any stitial that is out there. I would actually kind of push for us to not do hosts in the shows even.
I was actually going to mention that to you. I was thinking, should we just do me, you, Kaylee, 15 apiece, and then give Carolyn 45 and we just tag team it?
I would say so, yeah.
And then one of us go up after and just thank everybody.
That's the way to go.
Are we getting in the weeds on air? Let's get in the weeds
We
on
are.
air. This is a documentary, baby.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. How to run your show that you don't know how to run. You just wing it. Wing it the whole time. I am really excited, though. This is the last thing I'll say before we quest for laughs it. I bought a spotlight, a backup one, because I did that show for firemen that, by the way, I couldn't imagine anybody hated me more than those group of firemen hated me. But I bought, which would have really helped, is I brought my spotlight, and I could have turned all the lights off and just spotlighted myself, so at least I couldn't see them hate me. But my spotlight ate shit there, worse than I did, and didn't turn on. So I got that replaced, but I also bought a backup LED one that Rob Steen actually uses these for headliners, so they're really nice spotlights. But they're very small and compact, and they came with a logo that you can send them, which I had made for the OMP logo, so that we can shine our logo all over the wall at Starks. So it's
I was actually going to ask you
increase
for
of production.
that file, because I think I'm going to be buying that soon.
Oh yeah, you getting one?
Yeah, I have to. And I don't want the big giant fucking one. I just don't want
It is. But the little ones you have, they're not cutting it?
The pin spots. And I tested it at the one at Grand State Intervale. And it would have worked okay. It just wasn't quite as bright as I was hoping. But it would have worked. But it wasn't quite as bright as I was hoping. But I think if I'm going to buy another one, I'm going to get that one so we can have the I can have the logo as well.
It's nice. Yeah, it's good. It's a good little.
So
It sucks. I tried to buy a couple of the logo things, so I can get different ones. Like maybe get one for Mike's company and all that, because I can put that on the wall. That would look cool. And they're $60 to get an extra logo. We're like,
make Mike pay you for it.
First one's free. Second one's $60. I don't think he cares enough to do that.
He's not going to care until he sees it, and he's going to be like,
he's going to see it and be like, whoa, that is fucking cool.
There's been a few things that we've done. He's like, yeah, I like that.
It's true. I like making it, in the end, they feel like it's their idea, too. They're like, I got this brand new idea, this thing I did. And I'm like, yeah, you saw that from us.
We should start a group. We should start a secondary group chat with Jacques, and you can tell. We have that conversation all the time.
Yep. But, you know what the good thing about life is letting people think that they came up with ideas, because then they love you. Because inside they know that they took it from you. And then they love you anyways. And I'm fine with that. I don't care. My ideas are stealable. Quest for laughs. Damn.